RTV project. I am not going to talk much. I know this is an online radio show that we do every Tuesday, but we have a special guest host. He's special to me because he is actually one of our RTV core members. So he's part of my team. I'm hoping that this will be a beginning of many that will come. I think it is very important to even have the discussion about mental health. I'm going to actually turn it over and have him, what do they say, pimp my ride. But I'm going to have him do the takeover, and he can do his introduction, just take over as the host, and to see if we can learn. He's very insightful. This is Mr. Kyle Berkley. And I'll let him do all of the introduction of his organization and his role in Restoring the Village. But with all that is going on in our community, I mean, this past weekend, the holidays, it is very important to get your refill, to be rejuvenated. And that goes for all of us. So today, I'm going to take this moment to just take in, his insight that he's going to provide. So thank you all for coming in. First thing I want to say before turning it over is please go to the radioonfire.com Facebook page, and that way you can see the entire view, or you can continue to look at us on my live video. So I always try to go live. Please share it. Everyone can get this information. It doesn't have to, it could be anyone, even if you're on the front line and you're doing the work. We all need this assistance. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to actually be the co-host today. I'm going to follow his lead. So I'm going to turn it over to Kyle Berkley.
So good evening, everybody. My name is Kyle Berkley. I'm a social worker, licensed therapist, licensed social worker. I have somewhat experience in the field. I worked in grief counseling at Roberta's house, working with surviving family members that family members were murdered in Baltimore City. Have experience working with mental health and addiction at Mountain Manor, Project Place, which is a shelter, healthcare for the homeless, Hand in Hand of Baltimore, Merlin Correctional Institution, Jessup, a lot of different places. And I currently, I founded and I run a program called Forest Initiative. And in that program, we're a 3-part program. First part is doing interventions to reduce early dropout, substance abuse, and incarceration for adolescent youth. So we do preventative care in that aspect. And the second portion is doing housing for victims of domestic violence and sex trafficking and homeless families. Yeah. And the third part of that program is doing outreach. So, and as she stated, I handle the mental health aspect of Restoring the Village. I'm very proud of that. And we're going to dive right on in. We have a 3 segments for the show. Hopefully it works out. I gave a pretty big package.
Yes, you gave me homework. I'm ready for this. Let's dive in.
I don't grade homework, so as long as you show up, you get that. So we're going to start off with grief and loss. So currently, the homicide rate in Baltimore City is 242 murders. That's been documented. And we're going to start off with the common symptoms of grief and loss, because that's 242 family members that were taken away from somebody. That's somebody's loved one, somebody's friend, somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's father, somebody's mother, somebody's sister, somebody's brother, somebody's cousin, and that's a soul that you can't get back. And as school starts back, that's a loved one who doesn't have that opportunity to participate in that whole joy of going back to school, first day of school pictures, liking a picture on Facebook, taking a picture to put on Instagram, or being over for Sunday dinner to talk about it. There's somebody who's not there to do that. As we get closer to the holidays, we have Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, Kwanzaa. I don't think there are any other holidays. Hanukkah. Sorry. But, as the holiday season approaches, that's the time where people come together. And one thing that we don't talk about when we come together as the people is really like how are you doing other than looking strong and looking the part. We come together, we enjoy, we eat the food, we might clean up and wash the dishes maybe, and we go on back out and we deal with the rest of our 365 days of the year until we start over again next year and come together again. And hey, how you doing? Let's just like a death, or don't forget Easter dinner or Mother's Day. Can't forget those. Mm-hmm. But, for the most part, we leave somebody in their aloneness, and that grief is still there. You come inside that house and, somebody was sitting on that couch normally that's not there. So, that person is missing. So we don't really think too often about what's happening with that person that's still dealing with the loss when we're not there in those moments. So that's something I definitely want to talk about today, because moving forward past grief has a process. And what does that look like? Like, how might those things be challenging to you or to that person? And what is that new reality? You yourself, if I can disclose, sure. You lost your husband. How was that? Like, how did you get through that?
I'm getting through it. I didn't get through it.
Right.
This weekend was rough. Like you said, I already knew I needed to have you here because I know holidays are rough. And when you said about back to school, it didn't dawn on me, but my daughter just started college, and to not have her father there to that milestone, I'm having a very emotional time, So yeah, it's very important to talk about that.
And how did you lose your husband?
My husband was murdered. He was a homicide victim. He was actually stabbed, and he was in a vegetative state. So at a young age, I became a widow. So when I see the news, when I hear about different losses, it's kind of like a numbness in a sense. But I see how it has affected me because the PTS kicks in. I was just telling him, the PTS kicks in, like paranoia, the feeling like I got to make sure my baby's okay all the time because I don't want to lose her. That kind of PTSD. So it's definitely affected me on different levels.
Right.
I just had a family. Let me say family, lose someone close to them, and to hear it, the numbness was there, but to hear their cry, it broke my heart because I take it personal because there's a child that's going to grow up without their father. And that reminds me of, me.
Now, how did your daughter take it? This being her first time going to college, and of course, daddy's not there, even though time has went by, those scars are still there.
Yeah.
So how is she taking it?
So my daughter was 3 years old. And not to say it doesn't affect her, but it's always been like, that daddy-daughter time is missing, that, that first thing where she saw us. But my dad was always there. My grandmother's always there. So she lost those two people as well. I kind of just see the isolation. And so I try to talk to her as much as I can, but I definitely see a difference. She's doing well, excelling. And I think her thing, she's just like me because she feels like I gotta make them proud. So she pushes herself. Like with me, it's like, I gotta make people proud. I don't want my husband's death to go in vain. So I want to make sure I can help as many, young Black brothers as much as I can. And I want to help the widows or the girlfriends that are lost, their loved ones. So my pain and my hurt, it pushes me to do some great things or try to. But this is where the mental health comes in, because the more you do, it's like a drain,
So do you see yourself?
He over here trying to give me a session.
George.
It's okay. I needed this. He gave me a talk session this morning in the car. I really needed it. So it's good to talk about it.
Yeah, it definitely is good to talk about it. So do you see yourself compensating more? Like you're doing a lot more or exerting a lot more?
I do.
So, yeah.
I do. I get to the point where I work a 9 to 5. So when I'm off, people say, how you do it? I do it because it's like every inch of me just want to do it, want to make a difference. And I exert myself to the point where I probably don't even get that much sleep because all I have in my head is I want to make a difference. I don't want to leave Baltimore, but then I'm like, how do I raise my child in this? So now that pushes me to want to do more and to want to get involved. My hand is in the cookie jar everywhere, like the school system, wherever I can be to make a difference. So yes, I see that. And it's not good all the time because this year I probably didn't even take no break. Usually I try to get my little break in, but it's like I had to make sure that my daughter, she goes to school, and I had to make sure that she's not worried, with anything, but you still have home. You got balance. Right. So my balance when I do my RTV is mainly after hours, but it's a joy to do it.
That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Now you do know, because you read the cheat sheet.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about self-care a little bit later.
Self-care. Yes. Well, let me tell you, now I know I said I was a co-host. Self-care, let me just say, this weekend, I made sure I literally did nothing.
That's good.
But of course, I literally did nothing because I did it intentionally. I needed to have my mind together. Good. I managed a lot of things this particular year that I'm very proud of. But I saw that I didn't take time for myself. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm broke. My child in college. I ain't got no money to go nowhere. But I can be home. I can be humbled. I can have a break. So I did that. And I'm proud of myself.
That's good. Self-care is very important.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm going to kind of move back to grief because we're still in that first segment. Mm-hmm. So with grief, you have the issue sometimes with complicated grief. Mm. And with complicated grief, a lot of factors play into that. I'm just going to touch on probably 4. Mm-hmm. Those 4 can be bills, children, credit, and family concerns. Mm-hmm. And when you were widowed, you were left with a 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. So that's one concern. Did y'all have a house or an apartment?
We had an apartment.
You had an apartment. Mm-hmm. So there was some changes.
I had to relocate.
Because there was a change in finances.
Not so much. No. It was more of the, mine was a little complicated. We didn't know what happened. I guess under the detective's discretion, it was recommended that I move.
Okay.
So that makes sense. So I relocated.
So how was that process?
It was difficult because I wasn't used to being with. I was used to being on my own in my own space and being comfortable, not trying to worry about, is someone behind me, is someone in the house with me? It was always him with me, when we moved together. So definitely very hard. And also just to have someone helping you. And now there's only one person. So it's like, superwoman. and to be honest, because I went so hard when she was a little girl, I don't know how to stop and allow someone to help me. Okay. If that makes sense. It's really bad.
Well, so I
feel like I am very self-aware. So I always tell anyone, I'm like, hey, you want to date me? No, I'm very complicated. I'm very independent. I had to do this for so long. And it's very hard to now allow someone to come in my space.
So guys, the key word when dating her is patience, okay?
Please have patience. God is working on my patience. So... yes, it's definitely very challenging. So
you worked real hard, and that was your coping mechanism?
Yes, I know it was. It took my mind, not say so much off my husband, but it took it off of the hurt somewhat. Yeah. Because I went right into nurturing mode. I went to helping people, and the more I help people, it helped me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason why we brought up coping
oh Lord,
is because many different people cope different ways when it comes to grief, loss, and death. Some people choose drinking, smoking, drugs, prayer, talking, which we're doing right now.
Yes, talking's good.
And some people hide their hurt because they believe that they have to look strong. Mm-hmm. And I definitely want to say that is like the worst advice anybody has ever given anybody ever in the history of grief and loss is looking strong, because we're live, right?
Yeah, we're live.
Can somebody please post and tell me what does looking strong look like? Please? Anybody? There's no such thing as looking strong when you're dealing with the loss of a loved one. There's no such thing. So I could definitely tell you, when you're going through the sudden trauma of losing a loved one and that person is snatched from out your life, and you're dealt with the instant reality of moving forward, and you're trying to figure out what forward is without that person, whether that person was murdered or just died of cancer, heart attack, anvil fell on the head by Wile E. Coyote, I don't know. But no matter what, that's a sudden loss, and you have to figure out how to change this new reality with that loved one not being there. And there's no such thing as being strong, because how can you be strong in a situation you're unfamiliar with? Because 1,000 people can die around you, and one more person right in front of you dies is a brand new situation. So please do not ever say, oh, I have to be strong for the family to be. No, because each person has to mourn differently. Your 3-year-old daughter mourned differently, and her process through life has been different than yours. But as a 3-year-old, one of the benefits that she did have was coming into her own way of grieving.
Yes.
You adjusted, and you came into your own way of grieving. There are a lot of women out there who are trying to put up a facade because they believe that this is something that they have to do, is be strong. Oh, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to hold this together. I'm going to do that. No.
Yeah, and let me just say, my daughter, as strong as I thought I was around her, now that she's almost 18, she sits there and we talk, and she said, I remember you were in the car and you cried. I'm like, where do you see that? And then after a while, I don't even remember, but if she saw it, I know that I probably couldn't control it then, and now that I did it often, but the fact is, we think that we got this, armor up and we just protected him from that, but she saw that, and I didn't talk to her when that happened, when I cried or anything. So I think it's very important to always talk to the children, when that is happening.
Yeah. One episode of Good Times always makes me think of.
He's a clown. I know we're doing some serious talking, but this one right here keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I'm a nutbag. But I could definitely say I appreciate that show from the time when James Sr. died. And you remember when he was looking at the mom, it was like, hey, why aren't you crying? And she eventually broke down. But you could see it was weighing on her throughout the episode, that she was hiding it and the family was looking. And one thing we do as a people when trying to be strong is we actually push people away. That's our support,
I say that. That has happened.
And that's actually not a good thing. Yeah. And you got to think of who we're hurting in the process of while we're hurt. And I think of that with a lot of things that's happening with this generation. We have a lot of hurting people. As far as you look at the number of murders, you look at the reasons why these murders are happening. And if you engage some of these young people that are participating in certain things, you realize they're really hurt, but they don't know how or who to reach out to.
And they're frustrated.
Yeah. It's a powerful thing, and you have to think of how are they supposed to heal. Well, how do they see their role models healing? Like, do they see their role models pushing them away, or telling them that they have to look a certain kind of way, or their role models looking a certain kind of way themselves, and that's their perception of what it's like to be a man or a woman that's living in this situation?
What they say, real men don't cry. It's a myth, you have to. I had a loved one. I would just say that they called me crying, a man, but he's hurting, and that's normal. I had to let him know. He said that it was like he couldn't even control it, so it was just more like I have to be strong, and I was like, you're still being strong. You're hurting.
Yeah.
Hmm. Want to just remind people they can call.
Oh yeah, and you can call in. Sorry, I'm learning, guys.
It's all right.
So you can call in at 404-438-1277. No?
You got the glasses on. We're going to try this one more time.
Y'all see these? I got to get the description. She got glasses on too, but she tried to come for me. I got feelings. What up?
We're going to try this one more time.
That is 404-436.
Yeah.
I said 8 at first.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we learned today is these glasses and this light glare made that 6 look like an 8. I want y'all to see this though. Y'all see that? Y'all see? Y'all can't even see it. See what I mean? Y'all get it.
We do have one. They got the number.
They got the number. Are we answering? Good evening.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Coach Kids.
I didn't hear you.
Coach Kids.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Coach K.
Yeah, how y'all doing tonight? This evening?
Hi.
How you doing, Coach K?
I'm all right. Just listening to what was being said as far as coping. I know we have a lot going on in our city, and there's a lot of stress that we dealing with individuals. One thing that I do as far as myself is I tend to try to sit in darkness and not let the fish tank water run. What I do is I try to meditate to myself to cope with a lot of things that's going on. Just want to share the information, or my question is that the right way of dealing with coping, dealing with something, a lost one, losing a lost one? Is there any proper way, or whatever floats your boat?
Well, I'm definitely going to say this. There is no right or wrong way to cope per se. I would definitely say not doing drugs and things like that. That's definitely a wrong way of coping. But as far as meditating, as we're going to get to that a little bit later, but as far as meditating, that's definitely a good coping mechanism, and that's also self-care. Now, what triggers you when you go into those situations when you start meditating in the area with the fish tank? What's something on your mind?
I guess say it again.
I said, what's some things that are on your mind when that happens?
Just dealing with trying to keep these kids off the streets, and trying to better our resources, and there's a lot of hurt and pain that I can see in a lot of young men and women that I come across with, and I really can't understand what they're going through, but to help them better deal with it, I try to put myself in a better thinking process.
Okay.
So I'll be able to assist them in their need. One thing that we do is we have what we call My First Speech, and it gives kids, adults, a session as though they can talk in front of an audience to clear what's going on in their mind, what's in their head, whatever. That is one thing that I do as well. I try to talk in front of different people to let them know what's going on, if I can need help or not.
Yeah, that's outstanding. But in those situations with that meditation, that's great, because it seems like you're getting to a quiet place and you're doing some self-care, and you're probably doing some reflecting on yourself and looking at what ways your approach is working, and probably thinking about what ways your approach can change up. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's outstanding. That's definitely outstanding. That's under the part that we're just going to go in with self-care. And self-care, one of the main things I definitely try to ask everybody to do is meditate. Meditate, pray, read. Some of the other list of things I had for meditation was walking around the mall, shopping, reading. No. Hey, I didn't say shop.
You didn't say shopping.
I did say shopping, but I didn't say blow all your money while shopping.
Okay.
But reading, working out, running, art, meditation, like you're doing, going to the park, enjoying nature. I think you got two things knocked out, which is enjoying the fish tank, which is nature because fish are water and nature, and the meditating part, and really finding yourself.
Okay.
Now, Coach Kev, I want to thank you for always calling in. You're very supportive. I know that I'm trying to be on the passenger seat, but you know, but I want to say thank you to you because there was one video that I saw in particular, like you're very genuine and, you're doing everything that you are supposed to do. And you're doing an awesome job. And just as yourself and myself, we do a lot of work in the community. So this is why I thought it was very important because we need to always make sure we refill ourselves. He has given a list of resources that I'm going to make sure that we have for everyone. And I hope that you take that and, you know, you utilize it as well as share it. So thank you for calling in.
Sure.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
All right. Have a great one.
You the same.
Thank you for calling in, Coach.
All right. So that was awesome. After you gave the number wrong and then you came back. Now, can I say something?
Go for it.
You said shopping. So this is actually
mall therapy. That's what I call it.
Retail therapy.
Okay.
That's what we call it. So that's what the ladies call it.
So retail therapy is buying. You never say anything about purchasing.
I can't go in sometimes I go in the store. I mean, I pull up and I say, Brunei, I need you to go in the store because I know I can't. Mm-hmm. You know, unless it's like Home Depot, like a mail store or something. I can't. But like Walmart or malls, it's really bad. So you're telling me that's a good thing. If
it's not bad to walk around the mall if you're self-reflecting.
Okay.
You know, you might see the little young couple who hands like, I used to do that.
And then I say, 40% off.
Resist the devil and he will flee. Or he will be a flea at the flea market, which is cheaper.
Yeah.
Or it might get raided. Never mind.
So, okay. I just had to, I knew I was doing something good.
Yes, but mall therapy is
therapy.
Not shopping and blowing all your money.
Ladies, let's go to mall therapy.
But I mean, when you think about when you go to the mall, a lot of people go in groups, right? So you do walking, or you walk, you talk, you no, that's not what happens.
Sometimes.
Okay,
I go solo.
I'm wrong. Okay, I've been wrong before. Moving forward.
Sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with mall therapy, but we'll get back to that when we definitely dive into the self-care portion. We're going to talk about trauma shortly, and we're going to talk about what is trauma. It's a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. A lot of us are experiencing trauma. A lot of us are living constantly in trauma. We pass by an area all the time. I'm trying to think.
The balloons, the teddy bears.
Exactly. And we continuously revisit the trauma. We get to the point where we can't even come out of it. It's not even trauma anymore. It's like
now, hold on. My husband was murdered around here. Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, I would not revisit. I will avoid the street. So is that normal? Like sometimes to avoid certain remembrance, you know? Mm-hmm. So I definitely know for the longest time, somebody would say, I live such and such. I'm like, because I instantly had a remembrance of the situation. Yeah. So definitely like just to avoid. And let me just say, and even going beyond homicide. I remember when I was a little girl, I was in that accident. I wasn't driving, but it was a really bad accident where I wasn't able to walk or anything, right? For the longest time, I did not want to get on a highway or literally like a phobia. Like I'll be screaming, like it was just a shock, you know? And also going further, I was a victim of child sexual abuse. So I talk about all of this because it shows healing on my part. But I say that to say, even with that, my daughter, she wasn't allowed to go over other people's houses. They can come over mine, but then if she went somewhere, I had to like, who's over there? Like it's just like you had that fear.
Right.
You know, and so it's definitely like, it's still there in a sense. And like you said, with the, you know, with you, even hearing the news can traumatize you.
Yeah, you constantly hear the
hearing
same
it
thing.
over
It's
and
reinforcement.
over. Yes. So I had to say that because it's like, part of me is like, okay, I'm fine with it. And I think I am, but I'll see on the side where I'm very, like my daughter, because I lost my husband, she's been the one that I'll gravitate to. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if anything ever happened to my baby, oh my gosh, y'all go ahead and either find me some bail money or put me in a straight jacket. Like, that's my world, you know? And that's how I felt. Like, I always have to make sure are you okay? Are you this? You do extra. And then if someone lost their child, I mean, they may have another one. I found that they either cling so hard to that person,
right, or
they push away because they may have been so close to that other one, you know. And I've seen both. I've seen both sides. So I had to bring that up.
I'm glad you did.
So is that pretty normal?
Yeah, because there are a number of traumatic events. I could think of one right now that's happening, which is the hurricane in Texas.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I was watching the news about a night. Well, there is another one on the way. That's a category 4 or 5. I forgot which one.
5 right now.
5 right now.
Yeah.
But I was watching the news, and they were talking to a person that survived the hurricane that happened in Louisiana, Katrina. And that person was talking about how instantly, when this situation happened in Texas, their mind went right back.
Absolutely.
So, and that's uncovering a wound that trauma does cause, you know, and I really do think
that's the PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is a part of it. Yeah. And a lot of, like, there are certain things that trigger that can make your mind revert right back very quickly. I had a horrible accident a few years ago when I was driving my truck to work. I had a Ford Explorer, and I'm driving down Monroe Street, and an 18-wheeler hooks out and it crashed into me. Broke up my truck pretty bad. That's a blessing.
I'm about to say thank you. I'm about to say you're here.
Perfectly fine.
Yes.
But that's a blessing. But the reason why I brought that up is, to this day, I still flinch when an 18-wheeler drives next to my driver's side.
Oh, yeah.
Not my passenger side.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird. Like, it's always when it drives near my driver's side and it's close, I swerve. I'll do anything to get away from the 18-wheeler to this day. And that's trauma, you know, because that was a life-changing event on a lot of aspects.
I'm about to say, someone ran a red light last year, totaled my vehicle. Do you know at every red light, when the light turned green, I wait. They be beeping at me. Y'all don't have to wait because he ran the light, you know. Right. So, yeah, that trauma is there. It's like, so now I sit there and I'm like, you going to stop? You going to stop? You know? So it definitely goes beyond, I mean, and I had to talk about this because it goes beyond. And when we talked about the holidays, you know, it may not necessarily been the loved one lost on the holiday, but the fact that their absence, you know, their memory, the things you used to do on 4th of July and Labor Day and Christmas, and, you know, that is gone. And I'm going to just say, since my husband died, Christmas has never been the same.
Yeah.
And God has blessed me with a little baby. I said, God, you is very humorous. But the baby her birthday is near Christmas. And it's just like I always used to say, it's like I felt like when the suspect took my husband, he robbed me of everything. I say that over and over because I've lost so much, meaning my happiness, my you know, that was my high school sweetheart, you know, and it's like, to know that, and the fact that he was in a vegetative state, he didn't die right away. Like, to see that over and over, going to the hospital, knowing there's nothing they can do, and yet he's there. But it's like I do that, and I do it, and I do it, and it's like, for what? You know, not to say for what, but how much can I do anymore? And after that, it's like, God. When I lost my dad, it was like, God, how much for what? Like, why am I even still here? So I hope they won't talk about this because I do need to talk about it. But at one point, I didn't want to live.
Okay.
You know, and that's the honest to truth. If I didn't have a baby, I probably would have taken myself out.
So you found the strength, which was your child.
I found strength in my child. I had to be there for her. And so and you know how they say you live in your child. Like I did some amazing things. That was a great popular one. So I'm not the one who lives through their children. But my point is I wanted her to exceed. I want her to go in college. I never stayed on campus. I want her to live, to do. So that was my push. My push was to make her, to have her do that. But I remember at one time looking and like, I don't even want to live no more. Like, God, why don't you just take me? Because you like, you had so much. I was praying and like, bring him out of this coma, and to know that when he died, it was like, for what? What do I have to live for? And so, I didn't think that as a child there because I was hurting so bad.
Right. You was thinking about your needs and that immediate cutoff.
Yeah.
Like there was a life.
The pain was there. So it goes to, some people are coating it with drugs and alcohol. And it's like, I never was like an alcoholic or substance abuse, but it was more like I isolated myself from the world. Like for the longest time, they didn't know where I live, who I am. Like I didn't want no one close to me. I didn't want to get close to anyone.
Right. And
that's where my trouble come in. So it's like, if I get close to somebody, will it be, will I lose them? So look, he's like, look, Lord.
No, this is fine.
Yes.
So how did you wind up coping? Your child?
So I would say, definitely my child is the one who pushed me to greatness. It's nothing she said or done. It was just her future. That she needed her mother. She needed her mother. And I always say, so shout out to Shelley. He has the, our children need their dads, I'm sorry. And I support him so much, and I support anything. I even have a group page about fathers because my dad had custody of me. So I know how important it is for a father to be involved. But when it came to my child and how I cope, it was more like, you don't have a child, you don't have your father, I can't be your father. Right. But what I can do is be an exceptional mother. And I can always let you know how your father is.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So you kept his legacy.
I kept his legacy. And I kept his legacy even with Restoring the Village. Like, this is driving me because of him.
Outstanding. And I'm saying outstanding because... I'm saying,
he's like, he outstanding.
No, I'm saying outstanding because we had a conversation earlier, she and I. And there's some things she's working on right now to keep his legacy alive. Yes. And I'm not going to disclose everything.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Just make sure y'all support.
That's what I'm saying, outstanding. Because it is important that even though, like, during the loss of a loved one, that we don't want to forget the memory. And I do think that that's a big fear for a lot of people when they lose somebody, whether it is homicide or death from an illness or old age. Some of us, we take on that grief of, oh no, this person isn't here. And we want to do everything possible. And we try to keep certain things alive or a certain way. And that's a big fear, is losing that legacy. I think for me, I always think of my grandmother and everything that she does. And well, she did. And I know the biggest thing as far as legacy with me and keeping the legacy going in my family is the family reunion. So I take that very seriously to no end. I'm going to stop right there before I say anything.
We have something in common because everybody was like, well, we having a family reunion. I think it's very important.
Oh, we have ours every 2 years, and I try to be there every 2 years.
And
it's very important.
It is.
And
they kept it together, you know, and they went through some stuff too, but they did it. So
yeah. Let's see. Are we moving back to trauma? Well, all right. So we're going to talk about traumatic events. If anybody would like to call in, please feel free. But I'm just going to name a couple traumatic events. Some of them are murder, rape, being robbed, losing your job. And losing your job can be very traumatic because if you're the breadwinner and you have kids and everything else to deal with, and you lose that job, that's traumatic because that instant loss makes you think, oh, well, what am I supposed to do now? Even though you might have not had done what you're supposed to do at work. But that's a traumatic event.
That's another topic.
Yeah, that's a completely another topic. Please go. losing your job, divorce. Divorce is a big one because that's a sudden change in your life, your livelihood, your income, a lot of different things. Death of a loved one. It doesn't have to be murder. A health diagnosis, HIV, cancer, miscarriage, eviction. Like all those things are very traumatic events. And historically, how do we cope with those traumatic events? We're told to call the police. But one thing in our community, I mean the African American community, is how do we cope with the victim? Like if it's your niece, or God forbid your daughter, or your cousin, like how do you cope with that victim? Like day in and day out, is it something that you bring up? Like how does the family respond? Do you even talk about it? Do you not talk about it? Do you avoid it? Do you act like it just never happened?
A lot of families don't talk about it. Yeah.
Do you refer that person for therapy? Or do you do the whole wait and see? Well, I'm going to wait and see if you say anything, and then I'm not. So I definitely wanted to bring that up in case anybody wanted to call in, make a statement about that, or tell an experience if you want to. Look, here's the thing. I know that's a touchy subject. So if you don't want to, or you don't feel comfortable, it is what it is. I get it, but I do know, like in the family, there are a lot of people who do hide these things and keep these things under the rug. And I really feel like we're in a place in time where we have social media for everything, and we have access to all kinds of services to help. But if we don't help ourselves as a family first, then we're not helping at all. So if you would like to call in or leave a message on or anything, just call in at 404-436-1277. Because she tried to talk to me when I said
Now, I had a comment on here. Shelley said, who do we reach out to? So we are going to have the list.
Yes, I have some resources to reach out to.
And then he also said, are there any programs available? So if you have that, maybe you could share that. Either now, like briefly, some things on there, or we definitely can probably put on our website.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was one of the things I said.
Yes. Actually, we're going to get to the program part soon. So I will, Shelley, if you just bear with me for a little bit,
all right.
We'll get right to that.
Shelley, if you're still there.
Hi, Shelley.
The guy.
Oh, embarrassed. What's up, Shelley?
He gets that a lot. That's our pusher. He always put on there. So shout out. Page. So every time we go on the show, he puts on there how to call in and what the topic is and right before it. So big shout out to Shelley.
Thanks, Shelley. Yeah, so I'm going to get through to some of the resources in a second. Can you tell me something about Helping Hands? I didn't hear about that program before.
Well, he's one of our partners.
Embarrassed. Yeah, I learned something new.
Well, pretty much it's a community organizer that he does a lot in that community. So he had like a back to school event, but I think because of the rain. So a lot of things he does with I think it was called Books and Barbecue.
Okay.
But anyway, he reaches out and collaborate with different organizations such as Restoring the Village, but does a lot of providing resources to the community in Emerson Village, but I'm sure there's others, but definitely the Emerson Village area.
So because of the event being rained out, is he going to replan it?
Yeah, so hopefully Shelley will provide that information. I'm not even sure, but hopefully there will be a new date for it.
Awesome.
I'm sure because he's that awesome. I'm sure he had everything lined up, so we'll probably do another one.
Can we announce some contact information for the listeners out there who might have missed the
we did the flyer and I don't have a new date, so I'll probably have to wait.
Right. But I mean, do we have anything where a listener can contact him so that way they could
yeah. So definitely good one there because he is one of our partners and all of our partners or supporters, their link is on our Restoring the Village page. So if you go to the website at rtvproject.org, you can go to our partners page and you can have a link to Shelley Helping Hands. So you'll have all that information there, as well as everybody else. Like there's a whole list of organizations that are out there doing some great and amazing things. And as I said, like even the ones that are on the front line doing the work, such as Coach Cav, he was one of our community spotlights. But when you do on that work, it's always good to have a session like this, to have a talk, to know I'm not crazy, I'm not weak, like we all need it. So anyway, that can be found, like I said, on the website at rtvproject.org. You go to partners and supporters page, and you'll see Shelley Helping Hands, as well as many other organizations. So thank you. That was a good one.
Also, I want to say, now that school started back, everything's about to be full swing with the holiday season. So as you see in the stores, you got the Halloween stuff already.
Halloween and stuff already. Yes. Yeah.
Walking Dead will be back next month.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. I don't even watch that. I don't watch it. Sorry.
I did.
Dion just said, why am I not on this show? Listen, let me just. Yeah, so Dion is actually licensed provider as well. I'll say that before I forget it. A licensed therapist. So shout out to Dion. She actually provides a lot of feedback to us as far as resources when we were doing when I was doing the grief support group. So shout out to Dion. Let me just let you all know that anyone who wants to come on the show is more than welcome. As well as any kind of spotlights, any sponsors. If you want your organization or your event shared or to be a sponsor, like you can donate money to have it on our page, to do a shout out. Yeah, you can donate your money to us to be a sponsor and can sponsor a show. So and come on as our guest. So some great things going on. And let me just say, if just made me think about it, we are actually having a business network event coming up at it will be at the Forum Caterers, and we will be going live at the Forum Caterers, and we're calling all businesses, all organizations to come out and just to network, to get to know one another. If you have not met any of the RTV core members, please come out. We have been doing some great things, and a lot of people I either haven't met, we've just been on Facebook. I would love to meet you all in person. So save the date for Tuesday, September 19th. At the Forum Caterers. That information will also be on the website. So you just made me do my little shout out there. And again, if you want to donate, you can sponsor a show and we will shout out your business or your event throughout the show and on our website. So some great things. And we do have a great network. So consider that.
Yeah, so I briefly mentioned that Halloween was approaching. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and everything else I might have missed. Kwanzaa.
You're gonna make sure you get off.
Hanukkah. I'm not trying to offend anybody right now.
Okay, we're not gonna offend anyone. Just know, due to time, we're not gonna name all that.
But what I was gonna say was those gatherings. Those are family gatherings, and in those family gatherings, they can be triggering to certain people going through trauma. If you're going through the trauma of molestation or rape, and that family member is there, and that's something that's never been attended to, that's a trigger. You know what I mean? So that's something that's not tended to when somebody's just dealing with it, and they're probably suppressing an emotion. If there's the loss of somebody, even if that loss of somebody happened in January or last year around October, and the holiday season rolls around this year and that person's not there, that's still a loved one gone. And, the family coming together, we're enjoying ourselves, and then the family parts ways. There are private moments that a person might have that they aren't able to enjoy because that loved one is gone. And as family and as the Black family, I would say or I would challenge us to really keep in contact with each other more often. Because it's one thing to come together, which is great. Mother's Day, Christmas, Easter, all those holidays when we come together, we have dinner, we enjoy, we laugh, we watch the football and basketball games. That's awesome. But we need to reach out more often to our family, because one thing we can't get back is time, and complicated grief can really come into play when that person is gone and you have that moment when you say, I shoulda. Mm-hmm. So I definitely wanted to say that. And I also wanted to mention, a lot of people believe in this philosophy that the holiday season, the suicide rates increase. I actually researched that today, and Dr. Burton did a research study, and he actually disproved that theory. I actually sent it out too. And I'll have it posted on the page if anybody would like to look it up. But that is actually disproved, but that's still no excuse. Still, if you know anybody that has suicidal thoughts or anything like that, please refer them to the crisis line and get them help. Like, I definitely wanted to pass a disclaimer on it.
And then how was the number, or?
I have the number, and I was going to provide that towards the end.
Oh, okay.
Because you put me on the spot.
Sorry, you said
Guess
it.
What? For Baltimore City, the crisis response line is 410-433-5255. Yes, I said all the right numbers.
Yes, I actually know a few providers that work there, so some great things going on over there. Now, I would challenge ourselves of even trying to do some, like I mentioned it, but it makes me even want to do it more, like some type of workshop or something where we can get everyone together under one building, under one roof, to talk about this, to provide pamphlets, to talk, maybe even have the counselors there on site. I mean, I just see, I love the show. I love that you all can repeat it, share it, but it would be nice to actually be, to provide some type of workshop or a talk session in person. So
yeah, I'm with that.
Okay. You're looking at his trying to reconnect.
This thing is trying to reconnect.
What is it? What kind of phone do you have?
I have an iPhone.
Oh, you do have
Good
an iPhone?
job, AT&T.
You do have iPhone. Oh, you got okay.
I can't be AT&T. Good job for the high phone bill, but the poor internet connection. You're probably going to make my connection suck worse. Whatever.
So Antoinette says, does mental health deal with other areas? Which ones?
Mental health deals with a variety of areas. Mm-hmm. What areas are you interested in?
Yeah, she doesn't.
Antoinette?
Antoinette, if you're still there, he wants to know if you have any in mind, or your.
Yeah, like can you please elaborate a little bit on the question? Like in which areas? Not death. Right. So it doesn't just focus on death, not at all.
Go ahead, Antoinette.
Because we have to live. Not abuse. Okay, keep going.
Look, we have a couple minutes left.
Well, I mean, mental health.
So not deaf. So, and this is why I believe that a workshop is good, because we specifically were talking about the death because of the holidays.
Right.
But if we want to talk about mental health, we can make this a more of a broader, Antoinette and anyone else, a broader of a mental health segment, because she's right. It's not always because of a death that you feel that way, or, abuse or so forth. So I think to actually break it down, say, what about I'm emotional?
Yes. So mental health does deal with that. Anxiety disorder.
And please understand. Please know that you can call in if you did want to call in, Antoinette. Just the FYI, or we can talk from here. But definitely, you can always call in the number.
Yes, the number is 404-436-1277. And Bridget, I did get your comment.
His phone keep going out.
My phone is.
He might have paid his bill.
I paid my bill, but sorry, Priscilla, I did get your message about depression brings all types of thoughts, which is true.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but sorry, Antoinette. We do play. Sorry. What about I'm emotional? Yes. So mental health does play a role with emotions and dealing and coping with life, because one of the main things I do as a mental health therapist in my day-to-day function is I help people navigate throughout systems and challenges throughout their day-to-day living. So that's not just circled around grief. That was one aspect that I did function in at one point in time, was grief and loss counseling. Currently, I do therapeutic case management, and I help wonderful people find themselves and become their best selves. PTSD in our community, rebuilding families, some ways. Yes, that's real big, and that's what I mean by challenging systems is PTSD in our communities and rebuilding the family in some ways. My organization, of course, I'm going to plug my organization real quick right here, which is Force Initiative. Is we do focus on rebuilding the community. Through that is preventative care, which is reducing early dropout with students, reducing incarceration for adolescent youth, and providing housing for victims of domestic violence, sex trafficking, and homeless families. So those are some ways how we try to help rebuild. And in the program that we have with the preventative care, we do try to help create job skills. We try to help provide counseling, and the counseling isn't for deaf or anything like that, but the counseling is more so building up and motivational interviewing, things like that. And please feel free to reach out to me on Facebook if you like. My name is Kyle Berkley, Berkley, 2 E's.
That's a clown.
What's up, Myra? How you feeling, bro?
So I wanted to say, as he put his plug in, I want you to know that that's what Restoring the Village is about. Like, we're not here to say, oh, it's only got to be Restoring the Village. I don't care who comes on. If you have something, we are here to support one another, to support our community. Where they say there's no I and we. Like, we really have to drop all of that. You know, we working together. He has his own organization, yet he's still part of our, I would say, advisory board or advisory team. And there are just about everybody that is a part of the advisory board for Restoring the Village have their own thing, but yet we have a one common goal, and that is to better our community. So I know that this is his lane, and so what better way to, to have him come in to talk about that, something that he does every day. I can speak off of experience. He can speak off of experience and the fact that he has that under his belt as far as a license. We have to make sure that we do reach out when we need it. Like he said, don't make it seem like we're strong. I used to feel that way. Now I'm like, look, I call my best friend, like, I'm having a rough day. I'm struggling. Like, it's a norm because I have to release it. Mm-hmm. And I said this before I had a rough weekend, just because I know holidays. I like the fact, and I wanted to kind of go on here, like the reaction, the confusion. I know that when I know something's coming up, I'm coming up on a anniversary of my husband's death. I know around this time, even though I may say I'm fine, I feel like during this time, subconsciously, I feel like I can't concentrate. I'm so frustrated, easily irritated. Mm-hmm. So can't you just kind of go off of that, because it is very important. I always say, when you say how I'm coping, I am coping with it. I have not coped with it. I have not resolved it. It's not over. Every day I cope with it. A loss of my father, I know there are times where I remember going to the house where he was, and it was like his smell. I mean, it's just like, it's just a little small things that trigger, and it's like, I'm strong, but, and here's another thing, when you keep yourself busy, you don't even, it's only when your quiet time where you begin to think. Mm-hmm. So Coach Kev, is a good thing that you go on your time, your meditation, but that is going to be your time where, and I'm spiritually, I'm sorry, but that's your time where I believe God is speaking to you, that you can listen to him, or that you can connect spiritually. I know that that's my time. When I put the baby to sleep, when I do my thinking, I can really hear and really understand what I'm going through. And and to be there. But it definitely, if you're moving, you don't realize you're going through anything, but you get this, you have the symptoms because you're easily agitated, you're frustrated, you know. So I'm gonna let him talk about just that confusion, that disoriented.
So I will be posting this later. I know you
it's very
can't see
important.
this.
It's very
This is
important.
wonderful. So I will be posting this on my Facebook page after this is over. But it's common responses to trauma and traumatic stress. So psychological, some of them are adrenaline rush, extraordinary strength, survival responses, general increase of muscle tension throughout the body, rapid breathing, body thermostat changes, such as shivering and hot flashes, blood glucose and insulin imbalance, slow metabolism. Yes, that's how I gain weight.
I was gonna say, I must be very stressed because I have, Lord Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna we'll talk about that another time.
Right.
But yeah.
And then we have behavioral
Wow,
reactions.
let me put a star there. I have a reason.
You know, I just gave half my timeline an excuse. So anyway.
I have a reason. Let me put a star. Okay.
So behavioral reactions would be suspicion or suspiciousness or caution, obsessive retelling of traumatic events, rapid intense mood changes, antisocial acts, intense startle reflexes, alcohol/drug abuse, changes in activity level, eating, sleeping, sex, work, play, etc., inability to resume normal activity, visiting a grave site often or not visiting at all, avoiding areas, emotional reactions and thoughts, intense sadness.
I hate visiting grave sites.
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy. I did it for my daughter though.
That's good.
Yeah.
Emotional responses, intense sadness, panic, fear, guilt, depression, rage, anger, irritability, frustration, cognitive reactions, time expansion, time slows down, difficulty making decisions, dissociative memory, tunnel vision, confusion, disorderedness, distress dreaming, and for spiritual people like myself and like you, people find themselves angry at God, intensity in faith, feeling chosen, like this was my calling, I have to do this. Disbelief in God, questioning faith, where is God? Is it God's will? Is God trying to punish me? Is God testing my faith? And what kind of God would allow this to happen to me? So I will be posting this right here on Facebook today, and it's common responses to trauma and traumatic stress. And I think last but not least, because we're running out of time, would be self-care. Yay! So this is something that I recently had to take in for myself because it was something I really didn't know until my supervisor at work actually talked to me about it during a job interview a few years ago. But I really appreciate it. And I didn't really realize, like for myself, I didn't realize it was important. And I had the pleasure of doing a counseling session with two wonderful people. And while I was talking to them and in their function, in their role, I realized there's a lot of people who work in different roles who don't take advantage of self-care. And Coach K, when you called it earlier, I thank you for that because you actually do self-care. And the people who I was including into people who don't take advantage of self-care but deal with people on a regular basis are counselors, doctors, nurses, pastors, imams, parents, and caregivers. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I think self-care, like meditation, reading, walking, working out, police officers. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. The reason why I think that's important for a lot of those people that work in that atmosphere is you're dealing with people on a regular basis. And in that process, you're taking on a lot of different things, or as some people say, you're taking on a lot of different spirits, a lot of different attitudes. And what you can easily find yourself doing is taking it home with you. Mm-hmm. That's part of your home life. And now you're taking it back to work. And now you just created a big snowball. Mm-hmm. And it's just rolling. And eventually it's going to explode somewhere. So self-care is definitely important. And it could be as simple as walking, shopping, reading, working out, running, art, meditation, going to the park, enjoying nature, finding yourself. So self-care is care provided for you and by you. That's the definition of self-care. And it's important to think of because we just talked about the holiday season and it's approaching. Kids just went back to school. So a lot of people, this might be their first time with the kids out the house. So there could be that level of depression that's coming. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do now?
As much as they want to say, I can't wait to go back to school. It's you feel it.
So it's like, well, what are you going to do with yourself? Because your kids are at school now. So if you've been used to doing everything with the kids and now your kids are elsewhere, how are you going to deal with that? If you're at work and you're dealing with a situation like your boss is getting on your nerves, or there was a fight at work, or any bad situation could have happened at work, or any situation, because some situations at certain jobs, other people on the outside might view as bad, but because you're so numb to it at this point in time, you're like, oh, that's just a day in the life,
right.
But any of those situations could happen, and now you're taking that home. And you didn't create a space where you could detach. So
sometimes that's me.
Yeah. So for part-time work, I do crisis counseling out of Arundel County, and I run into a lot of very interesting scenarios. But I have to take time to detach from that before coming home. Even at my job now, where I do therapeutic case management, I have to find time to detach.
So that's the key word, find time to detach.
And really explore yourself. Think about yourself. Even if it's like short meditating or listen to some music, whatever it is.
Music.
Yeah. It's
I tune everyone out with music.
There you go.
I do everything with music. Like yes.
And last but not least.
And let me tell you, and with music, how about when the songs like that trigger? I mean, maybe it's me, but I know with me, I can listen to some oldie but goodies, and it reminds me of my dad. So even with that, I mean, I guess it just depends, but it still makes me feel closer to him. So it's all about, like you said, that self-care, what works for you.
Yeah, music does that too for me. There's certain songs that will trigger memory very quick. There's a song called "Angels Watching Over Me."
Don't sing.
Girl, I could sing. Don't let this baritone fool you. But
we're gonna make sure he stays to therapy.
No, but I'm serious. I could sing. Yeah.
If anybody want him to sing, y'all can call in because this is gonna be something. But if not, please.
I'm taking all calls. Mind you, I only know gospel music. So anywho,
so this is a mental health. I know it's serious, but we got a twist.
Yes.
So now, do you? I did not know this. Well, I don't know if you said it or not, but do you offer any kind of individual counseling?
Me per se, not right now.
Okay,
not right now. But I can refer to services.
Okay, so that's a good thing.
My schedule is completely
just to know that
this is where self-care comes in.
Yes,
this is where you have to know when to say no. Y'all saw that. I actually said no for once, right?
Yes, that's a good thing. Tell your wife thank you. So if anyone calls, you will be able to refer them. So
yes.
That's still a good thing. Okay.
Yes. So first place I wanted to provide was Sarah's House, which is a PRP service, and their number is 410-225-3101. I'll give the number again in case I talk too fast.
I know we actually can list it.
Oh, there we go. But I'm still going
to because he might put wrong numbers up. He did it one time. That's all it took.
It was the glare. You know what? For those that wear glasses, you understand. So once again, Sarah's House, the PRP service, their phone number is 410-225-3101. Second service is Unlimited Bounds. Their phone number, their PRP service as well. Their phone number is 443-449-5135. That number again is 443-449-5135. Then there's an organization called ITHC, and that stands for Impacting Tomorrow Health Center. That is 443-218-8282. That number again is 443-218-8282. The next number is Roberta's House.
Kudos to Roberta's House.
Yes. They focus a lot on grief counseling.
Yes, I went through that training for that.
Yeah, it's outstanding. It's a 2-day training.
Mm-hmm.
Who did yours?
I did it twice. Well, Annette was there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did Dee do any of it?
Dee did some of it.
She's awesome.
Homicide for the schools, right?
Yeah. So Roberta's House.
We just did a plug for Roberta's House. Shout out to Annette.
What's up, D? What up, D? Sorry, I had a DMX mode. Now I have to do the Roberta's House now.
Okay, I'm
DMX's voice. 410, son.
No.
I'm just saying. No, I'm sorry. I play too much.
Yeah.
It's 410-235-6633. Roberta's House. Phone number again is 410-235-6633. And Baltimore City Crisis Response, which we talked about earlier, their phone number is 410-433-5255. That number again is 410-433-5255. If there's somebody in need of shelter for tonight, the Weinberg Housing and Resource Center, commonly known as Code Blue, or also known as WHRC, their phone number is 443-478-3777. That number again is 443-478-3777. SSVF Services, which stands for Supportive Services for Veteran Families. That phone number is 410-837-1400. That number again is 410-837-1400. And the last number I'm going to list is the House of Roof emergency line. So this goes out to anybody who's in a domestic violence situation or a situation that's dealing with their partner abusing them in any way, shape, or form. They have an emergency line, which is 410-889-7884. That number again is 410-889-7884.
Thank you.
And before I finish, I want to say happy birthday to my little sister, Carissa.
Look at him.
Virgo.
Look at him over here giving out shout outs and birthdays. So that is the end of our time. I'm gonna let him end it out, but I do want to just let everyone know I truly appreciate you all tuning in. I know it was a little later than usual, but if anyone follows me, you know that I'll be doing my midnight segments. So thank you for tuning in. I want to thank Kyle Berkley for coming in with great insight. Everything that was listed, we're going to make sure that is on our page. We're going to make sure you have access to it. We want to make sure that you share it. And we want to make sure that we take better care of ourselves. And that's all of us, the ones on the front line, the ones going through, the ones who just lost someone, so forth. But we can't help anybody if we can't help ourselves. If we're not together, we can't help nobody else. So thank you again for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. Please just share the video for anybody who may have needed it. Again, if you'd like to be a sponsor for any of our shows, you can donate to Restoring the Village. We'll make sure that your event will be broadcast and announced. Do not forget about the Business Network event that is September 19th. We will be at the Forum Caterers. We're partnering up with them for an exceptional event that you don't want to miss. Please just go on the page. Next week, we're going to have Maryland Justice Project. And the last Tuesday, we're going to have the WBFF Facebook page. The admin's off of there. I mean, anyone knows, I'll probably look at it before I look at the news. So it's going to be awesome to have the admin team here. Again, thank you for tuning in. The Restoring the Village page on Facebook. Please like it. And we also have a website at www.rtvproject.org. And it's going to be the end, but I'm going to let my co-host, and I think if he did an exceptional job, please just make sure you comment and show your love, because he came out after, counseling people to come in to counsel me, but also to give insight. So again, I just want to thank Kyle just for being a very important part to Restoring the Village. And a good friend, like just to know that I can have someone to call, and that we all can now, because he's gonna make sure that we're all gonna be okay. We're gonna take care of each other. So that is it. But I'm gonna let him close it out. And thank you for being co-host for this evening.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna let you.
I definitely want to say good night to everybody. Always be mindful of yourself. Take time for self-care. Pray, and it's okay to seek a counselor. I know that's been taboo in our community, and people go, "Oh, he's crazy. He's going to go see a therapist." No, he's actually doing the right thing by going to see a therapist. You're actually not doing the right thing. You're actually crazy. So definitely take time to go get help. Like, don't let things get worse than what they need to be. Like, if you notice there's certain changes in you, definitely go seek services. We're going to post the services I listed, and we're going to continue to post services. I definitely want to say goodnight to my wife, my 2 kids, Savannah and Sage. Hi, Mom. Sorry, my mom just said great information. That's my mom, okay? My mom.
Hi, Mom.
Love my mom.
He did an exceptional job. We love him.
Love you, Mom. My friend since day one. Knew you before I was even here.
I'm about to get him.
But no, and I definitely want to say what's up to my 3 p.m. family and my family at Forest Initiative.
He's getting an award here.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank the Academy. No, I'm joking. I'm sorry. I will joke a lot. No, but definitely we do a lot of work with Forest Initiative, so I definitely want to say thank you to everybody who plays a part. That includes Randy, Jessica, Delilah Spriggs, my wife, and Theodora, and almost everybody. I'm on the spot giving thank yous, and I'm not good at that. So I'm going to stop right now and just say thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody who donated. As I stated earlier, the season's changing, so we're going to be taking donations again soon for coats, hats, blankets, gloves, socks, food, and waters and coffee and things like that, so that we could give to the homeless. And we're also going to be taking financial donations soon, because we do have to house these homeless families and these victims of domestic violence. And we do have these programs to cater to the youth to help deter them from incarceration. But it has to come from somewhere, because we have a computer program now where we can teach kids between the ages of 16 to 26, if I'm not mistaken, IT, so they could come out with a certification in A+ or C+ or Cisco. And
he had to come on here to talk about Forest Initiative.
She's gonna do another radio show, and it looks like I might budge toward it.
Yeah,
it depends on how.
If you would love to have him come on to even have his own show or segment, just give him some encouragement. I'm trying to get him there. Take a Tuesday off of me.
Keep me in prayer, y'all. I'm back in school getting my PhD. So please keep me in prayer.
So thank you all for tuning in. Have a good night. And again, don't forget to share. Talk to you later.
Y'all have a blessed night.